go north, the rush is on. North to Alaska, go north, the rush is on. Big Sam left Seattle in the year of '92 with George Pratt, his partner, and brother Billy too. They crossed the Yukon River and found the Bonanza Gold.
Let's get better acquainted with Alaska so we can understand why it's so important to us. One reason for Alaska's importance is its geographical position in the path of the air routes over the roof of the world. The airplane is making Alaska a center of the new communication routes of our air age.
Way up north to Alaska, way up north to Alaska, north to Alaska, go north, the rush is on. North to Alaska, go north, the rush is on.
Anchorage, Alaska is where your epic adventure begins. Everywhere you look, it's simply breathtaking. From the mountains and forests of Chugach State Park to the east, the sparkling water of Cook Inlet and Mount McKinley looming large on the northern horizon, Anchorage is one vacation you won't soon forget. Don't worry about an early bedtime during your trip to Anchorage. In the summer, there's about 22 hours of daylight, which means more time for everything. Hiking, biking, kayaking, or even paragliding, whatever gets your heart pumping. There's no need to go far to find amazing experiences. In this city, you can actually throw on a pair of hip waders and fish for salmon in the middle of downtown. Easy access to rivers, lakes, and parks, and of course, an abundance of wildlife. Alaska has the highest concentration of glaciers in the country, and 60 of them can be found within 50 miles of downtown Anchorage. Chugach State Park is your getaway to Alaska's wilderness. Nearly 500,000 acres of wide open space. There's room to do it all. The hub for road, air, and rail travel in Alaska, Anchorage is the perfect place to start a comprehensive tour of the last frontier. Take off for an aerial tour of amazing glaciers and stunning mountains in Denali National Park, or board the Alaska Railroad bound for Seward and the marine wildlife wonders of Kenai Fjords National Park. Something not to be missed in Anchorage, the freshest seafood in the world served by top chefs. From fresh-caught halibut and wild Alaska salmon, it's the food that will have you coming back. Anchorage is filled with natural wonders and a mix of modern luxuries. It's an unforgettable destination where your adventure begins.
I took time out to write to my old friend. I walked across that burning bridge, mailed my letter off to Dallas, but her reply came from Anchorage, Alaska. She said, "Hey girl, it's about time you wrote. It's been over 2 years, you know, my old friend. Take me back to the days of the foreign telegrams and the all-night rock and rollin'."
Another important feature to notice is Alaska's size. Let's compare it with the rest of the United States. We can see that it is about 1/5 the size of our whole country.
There you go, huh? Everybody's singing. Yeah, good dogs. That's what I call a communal howl, a kennel bonding experience. Right, buddy? Yes, sir, Babalooey. The name is Martin Boozer, and one of the many things I do is I focus on the Iditarod sled dog race. In fact, this is my 31st Iditarod. I grew up in Switzerland and went to school, and I came to Alaska in April of '79, and I'm still here. I've won the Iditarod 4 times so far, so that puts me in an elite group of a handful of people that have 4 victories to their name. I'm still hoping to win, of course. At 55, I'm not too old to win the Iditarod. We don't know where the line of age and experience yields to the level of youth and exuberance, you know, hopefully not quite yet. It's a sport where you need to gather a lot of information for many years to become ultra competitive. Now, of course, with age comes the challenge of being still tough enough to do it. There's very few people that can relate what it takes to finish the Iditarod. In fact, there's only 700 some people that have ever done it. You know, there's an even smaller group. There's only 20 some people that have ever come in first. My ultimate goal right now is to join that elite. It's not a club because it's only one individual that has won 5 championships. Pulling even with Rick Swenson is definitely one of my goals. I hope to join him on that podium.
When I was a child and I lived in the city, I dreamed of Alaska, so far away. And I dreamed I was flying over mountains and glaciers. Somehow I knew that I'd live there one day. Well, it took me some growing and a fair bit of schooling, a little bit of trouble to get on the move. And I felt like a loser, but I turned out the winner when it came to Alaska, the land that I love. Here's to Alaska, here's to the people, here's to the wild, and here's to the free. Here's to my life in a chosen country. Here's to Alaska and me. I was born in a cabin on Little Mulchatna, raised in hard times, but I had a good life. From the first time I flew with my father a-singing, I knew that I'd wind up a bush pilot's wife. We sleep near the sound of a slow-running river and wake up most mornings to a drizzling rain. And we live every day like the first or the last one, with nothing to lose and heaven to gain. Here's to Alaska, here's to the people, here's to the wild, and here's to the free. Here's to my life in a chosen country. Here's to Alaska and me. Oh, for a fire on a cold winter's night, once more to gaze at the great northern lights. For all of the beauty my children will see. Here's to Alaska and me. The Hayes Riverboat Service. Let us take you back in time, out where the rivers meet. To days gone by where the eagles fly to a frontier wild and free. Come explore Alaska, safe and naturally. The Hayes Riverboat Service, an adventure into the heart of Alaska.
Sometimes it's blood, sweat, and tears on Alaska's last frontier. But life is simple, life is good when you're living like you should. Hey, hey, sometimes it's struggle, strife, fathers, sons, brothers, wives. But we're making our way, and yes, we'll stay right here on Alaska's last frontier. settled this land. And Mom and Papa taught us you need to understand. Oh, the meek don't endure, nor the weak of the heart. This land will make you strong or break you apart.
It's the green and blue and the clean and white, where winds and wild wolves sing to us at night.
But it's not the gold nor the oil that we hold dear, born to be wild and free here on the last frontier.
Talkeetna to me is a unique experience. It is what you expect Alaska to be, and it's very much a small community. It's a beautiful place to go, and it's only 2.5 hours north of Anchorage. It just has the feel that you would expect an Alaska town to have. Whatever you're looking for in a guest experience, you can find it at Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge. Not only can you stay in a beautiful lodge that has all the amenities, it also has great wilderness and great activities. Whether you want to flight see around Mount McKinley and land on a glacier or go zip lining. Rafting and float trips, and we also have jet boat tours that go up and down the rivers. Because of where the lodge sits up on a bluff, you look out and you see nothing but wilderness. That's what people expect when they come to Alaska. They want a place where they're going to look out and feel like they're in the middle of nowhere. And that's exactly what you feel like when you're at Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge.
Sometimes it's blood, sweat, and tears on Alaska's last frontier. But life is simple, life is good when you're living like you should. Hey, hey, sometimes it's struggle, strife, fathers, sons, brothers, wives. But we're making our way, and yes, we'll stay.
'Cause we're the daughters and the sons in the land of the midnight sun.
Right here on Alaska's last frontier.
Alaska's vast, undeveloped regions are a storehouse of natural wealth. There are magnificent mountain ranges bearing precious ores of gold, silver, and copper. There are 20 million acres of forest, the lumber and wood pulp for future American markets. There are cold rivers that are teeming with fish. And along the coastline, there are untapped deposits of oil.
When did I arrive? I don't recall ever leaving Alaska. Why do I hate the dark when I'm alone? I was on my way to a brighter day. I'm still chasing around, but somehow I believe that this is home. It's so good to be home. I was on the ground when I recall the day that my discomposure left me forever and swept all my troubles away. When did I arrive? I don't recall ever leaving Alaska. Why do I hate the dark when I'm alone?
Because Alaska extends about 1,200 miles from north to south, it has a variety of climate. For example, north of the Arctic Circle, we see Alaska as most of us know it, a barren, windswept region. Here the summers are cool, and the ground just below the surface is always frozen. But did you know that in central Alaska, the heat of summer is about the same as that in New York City? And along the southern coast, the climate is similar to that in Seattle. So Alaska, as we are beginning to see, is not a land of endless ice and snow. Alaskans have been called the flyingest people in the world. And when we remember how big Alaska is, and how much of it is covered with forests and mountains, we can understand why airplanes are the best means of getting from place to place. We have already seen something of Alaska's importance in the air age. The shortest air route from the United States to China, for example, passes through Fairbanks. Large planes have given Alaska a new place in world transportation. Small planes have solved the problem of local transportation, where they can land on small fields or on the countless rivers and lakes in Alaska's backcountry. On some planes, pontoons are replaced with skis in the winter for landing on ice and snow. Planes carry mail, furs, meat, medicines, livestock, supplies of every kind. Flying northward, we see one of Alaska's most magnificent sights, Mount McKinley, the highest mountain on the continent of North America. Here are jagged peaks and vast regions of ice and snow, a strange, cold world. The snow from the high slopes fills the deep valleys to form glaciers, the great frozen rivers that move slowly down to the lower valleys. There they melt to form glacial streams and rivers. Alaska was brought closer to us with the building of the Alaska Highway in 1942. Built with the cooperation of our Canadian neighbors, this famous highway connects with the Canadian roads at Dawson Creek, thus completing the first land route between Alaska and our other states. From Dawson Creek, it is a 1,500-mile drive to the end of the highway in Fairbanks, Alaska. Building the Alaska Highway was one of the great engineering jobs of our time. Men had to cut the road through the forest wilderness and build it up over the soft, swampy ground called muskeg. The road stretches across beautiful, rugged country that is sometimes called America's last frontier.
Welcome to the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge, a cozy retreat overlooking the Kenai River Valley and near spectacular Kenai Fjords National Park. The Kenai Princess is the perfect place to watch the sparkling Kenai River. In fact, you'll feel like this nature is all yours in your bungalow-style room. Wood-burning stoves and private porches give you a rustic feel in this wilderness retreat. When you want to do more than just admire the view, head to our tour desk where we can arrange for an angling tour in search of trophy-sized fish, as well as river rafting, nature hikes, or wildlife viewing cruises. When it's time for a bite, head to the Eagle's Crest restaurant for a delicious meal of Alaskan specialties and jaw-dropping views. Drop by for a drink and a snack at the Rafters Lounge, either inside or out on the deck. Soothe your muscles in one of the indoor or outdoor hot tubs, or just relax by the lobby fireplace or out on the expansive deck.
There's a cool summer breeze blowing in from the northern seas, coming home to the land of the midnight sun, where the mountains touch the sky, where the eagle learned to fly, and the mighty Yukon River makes its run. Alaska is the great land where dreams are made to fly. Hear the call of the last frontier from the home of the northern lights. Hear it calling you to come to the land of the midnight sun. Live the dream of a lifetime in Alaska.
Gold mining is a valuable industry, but Alaska's greatest source of wealth is salmon fishing. More than half of the world's supply of salmon comes from Alaskan canneries. In June and July, the shallow waters of the Gulf of Alaska and of Bristol Bay are dotted with fishing boats. Fish are also caught in Alaska's many rivers. Here is Alaska's greatest treasure, the silver salmon, worth more to us than Alaskan gold.
Until recently, even the most charmed visitors had scarcely a chance of seeing the largest animal in North America, the 3,000-pound wood bison, roaming wild through an open range. After all, this gorgeous creature that walked the Alaska tundra more than 100 years ago nearly became extinct in the early 1900s. But a committed Alaskan named Mike Miller changed all that with a simple vision. In 1988, Mike secured a 150-acre homestead in the majestic Placer River Valley, within an eagle's call of Portage Lake.
I really enjoy working with animals, so I opened this nonprofit wildlife rehabilitation center that cares for orphaned, injured, or abandoned animals.
It also guarantees every visitor stirring face-to-face encounters with these gorgeous creatures, along with Alaska's other biggest game animals such as caribou, moose, muskox, deer, and bears, living much as they would in their own natural habitat. Though these animals roam in the open, backdropped by mountains and hanging glaciers on all sides, visitors can get close enough for intimate, memorable encounters. At the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, you can observe what is unique about the state's most famous animals in a way that would otherwise take years. The refuge is laid out so that even those with amateur equipment can get stunning shots of rarely photographed animals. Come check out the 4-year-old grizzly Hugo in an 18-acre enclosure, North America's largest habitat for a captive bear. After viewing and photographing the animals, you can browse the oversized log cabin gift shop, which Mike built himself.
So come visit us at the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center.
Mining machinery weighing 900 pounds is being loaded into a plane. It will be flown over mountains to this mining camp in an isolated mountain valley. Here, the machinery is unloaded to be used in mining one of Alaska's most valuable minerals, gold. The glamour of the gold rush of 1898 has largely disappeared. Today, gold mining is a big industry, using mechanized methods. The old prospector with his pick and shovel has been replaced by the modern hydraulic miner. The early miners exhausted most of the gold on the surface, so today big dredges dig the gold ore that lies deeper in the earth.
You may feel like you're headed to the top of the world when you ride the Alyeska aerial tram to the peak of Mount Alyeska. Well, it may not be the top of the world, but it's certainly one of the world's top views. Board this 60-passenger tram for an unforgettable 7-minute ride up into the heart of Alaskan glacier country. As you climb, the world seems to open before you as panoramic views stretch off to the ends of the earth. At the end of the ride, you'll be at 2,300 feet, where you'll marvel at the majestic views of mountains, hanging glaciers, sparkling streams, towering spruce trees, and an array of wildlife. Any time is a good time to be awed with the view.
We haven't seen all of the story of Alaska because much of it will be happening in the future. At the State University near Fairbanks, young people are preparing for that future. Alaskans are working and building to improve their land, but there's still much to do. Developing a new state is a big job, which we can understand because we have seen how big Alaska is. We know, too, how important Alaska is to us because of its position in the air world. And we have seen Alaska's importance in terms of its natural wealth, the timber, the minerals, the fish, and the farmlands. And there is one more kind of wealth that Alaska has, its young American citizens, the children who will someday add their achievements to the story of Alaska.